Hi, and welcome to this afternoon update. Today, the models this morning and this afternoon, the models have shown quite a bit of development in about 5 days off the coast of Louisiana and Texas. This area that I have here circled, it's possible that this is what the models are seeing, but it's unlikely. This is more coming off of Invest 91E, I believe it is. But we went ahead and ran a size estimate on it anyway to get a handle on the situation. And here's the 12Z size model. We didn't force the initialization. We let it off its leash and it came up by itself at 16.56 knots. And in 48 hours, it takes it to a tropical depression status, which is unlikely because it's really not a low pressure system there. But we ran it, so the shear seems to be favorable in this environment for further development in the next few days. Here is last night's European model, the 0Z run. And you can see the normally conservative European model is showing a 110 millibar low off the coast of Louisiana. The 12Z model has backed off on this. I don't have the graphics for that because they haven't posted the tropical imagery up yet. But the 12Z basically puts the low pressure over Louisiana. But you can see the trend here with the ECMWF, and as I'll show here in a minute, shear actually seems pretty favorable if it can stay away from the cold fronts. This is the 12Z Canadian, and this is for hour 138. And you can see it also has the idea of a tropical low developing off of Louisiana and Texas coast. And one thing to point out here, and I'll show this here in a minute with the steering currents, is that there's a very slow moving front moving southeastward from Washington, the northern Pacific west, and it's going to move slow enough that this system could have some development before it gets shoved off to the northeast. And that's something that we'll have to be watching for. If the cold front comes in too fast and shears it out, it will not allow development of the system. But the models have really been showing a slow progression of this front. Here are the 500 millibar heights and anomalies. This is the European model. And you can see here, I've drawn two arrows down here on the left-hand side. The left-hand side arrow going to the southeast is the front and trough moving this way, and it's moving very slowly, which really gives, if this becomes anything, it would give it, the only chance it would have is to go northeast. And possibly give Ohio some rain. I mean, that's way too early to be talking about that, but nevertheless, the models do show some development, so this is pretty interesting this afternoon. Here's the shear for 120 hours, and on the left is the GFS, and on the furthest right is the Canadian, and in the middle is the no gaps. And the only model out of these to show unfavorable shear is the GFS, which, by the way, the GFS does not develop the system at all. And this may be the reason why it does not develop the system, because it sees a lot of shear in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, these are the steering currents for the Gulf of Mexico. And all these different models and let's see, this is hour 132 out. And it really only shows one direction, and that is northeast through Mississippi into the Midwest. These areas here, possibly Florida if it can go far south enough. But what probably will happen if it develops at all, it'll get hung up on this front and travel northeast along the front. Finally here we have, this is just the same view of the CMC, the Canadian, except it's the tropical view. And you can see here on the 925 millibar heights, the system trying to get its act together, maybe a depression by Louisiana coast and the Texas coast. So this isn't something to get worked up about, but it is something to watch. And this is about 5 days out, so we have plenty of time to watch it, and we will probably continue to run the size estimate as long as there's some type of disturbance to follow it with. However, if the system falls apart, we will discontinue the size estimate. But for right now, we'll keep monitoring, and that's all I have for right now. For the daily windup, I'm done with flowers.